Hey everybody, and welcome to our show, ReelProjections, where our thoughts, opinions, and deepest feelings on movies are projected, and they are real.
Real time, real thoughts.
Yeah, what do you think of that for a tagline?
I think that is still pending without my approval.
Maybe a little lengthy?
No,
I don't think so.
Come on.
So, our topic for today's show is we're going to be talking about the 2015 summer movie season. And the summer movies are important because it's the time of the year when you get to kind of turn your brain off and just watch action.
Yeah, but when your brain is
Superheroes.
on with action, it's even better.
That is correct. We got a little bit of... Oh, there you go. We got a little bit of that this year. But anyway, I thought we would start out the show the way we start out every show. Just talking about a little bit about what we've seen lately. And there's one thing we both can definitely talk about because we both saw The Visit.
We did see The Visit.
What'd you think of The Visit?
I think as I thought about it more, I didn't like it as much, but I enjoyed it in the theater. I did like the kid characters, but as you said, they're not super realistic. I think the kid was fine, but the girl wasn't great. She was interesting, but I did like the boy a lot. I thought he was funny. I thought he was entertaining, but it was a return to form, but it wasn't great. I would say I think it was better than his last 4 movies since Signs. I'd say is his last movie I liked. But it was fine. Had some good scares. A little bit entertaining. A story I could get with. I could follow. So it was.
All right. Here's a confession from me. The last Shyamalan movie I had seen prior to The Visit was Signs.
Okay.
I have not seen his
You haven't seen The Happening?
No,
What?
I haven't seen After Earth
No.
or Lady in the Water.
Okay.
You know what? I may go back and revisit myself in Shyamalan's career, but I cannot see myself ever watching After Earth.
No,
That's
I haven't seen it
one
either.
that I will not watch that.
That's basically just a birthday present for Will Smith's son.
Yeah, and it's rare that I will just swear off of a movie, but I kind of swear off of After Earth because it's not even a movie. It's like you said, it's a birthday present for Jaden Smith. But anyway,
Just buy him an island. Be happy with an island. Come on, Dad.
I'm having the opposite of you with The Visit in that I'm kind of liking it more the more I think about it.
okay.
Here's the thing with this movie. I spent so much of it hating it because I thought it was a certain thing and then a twist happens and then it's not that thing and then I realize, oh, so this isn't as offensive and terrible as I thought it was. And the last bit had some good scares.
Yeah.
Like it really, really
The
did.
scares
have
were good.
Constructed scare scenes.
I liked every night scene.
Yeah.
It was set up to where the night scenes, much worse things were happening. The day scenes, the kids were trying to figure out what was happening, and they had more reprieve from all the craziness.
Yeah.
And the night scenes were probably my favorite parts.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
growing. I still liked it, but
Yeah,
I didn't love it overall.
It's decent. It's not bad. If you haven't checked it out yet, I would say check it out. If you like, here's the thing. I'm not so much viewing it as a Shyamalan movie, and that I'm not expecting it to be like The Sixth Sense or anything like that.
No.
I was kind of just viewing it as a low budget and independent horror movie, and as that, it's pretty successful.
Because there's been a lot of bad ones recently, so I mean that's
But
a
lot of which I haven't seen, to be honest.
I see the last one we enjoyed was Insidious.
Yeah, but that's not independent though.
No,
It's
it's
a
not
studio
independent. Bloomhouse.
Yeah. So anyway, that was pretty good. Okay, I want to talk about one thing real quick. I did not see Pulp Fiction for the first time this week, but I did discover it for the first time this week. And since we recorded our last show, I have seen Pulp Fiction 3 times.
I have not.
I'm not going to get too much into it because, okay, I'm kind of the last person on earth to figure out Pulp Fiction is great. Everybody knows this. I saw it in high school. I had almost no reaction to it. It was whatever. It was fine. I didn't care about it. And since then I've become this huge Tarantino fan, right? But Pulp Fiction was always one I didn't revisit. I finally did. It's that weird experience when you know you've seen one of your favorite movies of all time, and I just haven't really wanted to watch anything but Pulp Fiction recently. That's just all I want to watch.
Okay.
But Pulp Fiction has led me to see some other things because I love John Travolta's performance in it so much. I watched Saturday Night Fever starring John Travolta.
Oh, you watched that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And here's the thing. I've always kind of put Saturday Night Fever in league with like Footloose and Flashdance, and that it's the cheesy 70s or 80s dance movies. Mm-hmm. It's not. It's really, really good. Like, It's kind of great, actually. It's really dark and really
It's kind of great.
It's kind of great. It's really good. And I also revisited Reservoir Dogs, which has always been my least favorite Tarantino movie, and I've never really liked it. I liked it more this time. I still have a lot of problems with it, and I imagine I'll have those problems forever, but it's a movie that I can really enjoy watching.
Okay.
Even though there are things in it I don't like, and I don't think it works 100%.
Okay.
I do like it. So.
I mean, if you like Tarantino movies, it still has a lot of Tarantino signature stuff. But it has rough spots because it's his first big thing. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's kind of like Batman Forever in that I don't think Batman Forever is that great.
Okay.
But if I'm in the mood where I just want Batman, I'll watch Batman Forever just because it has Batman. And it's kind of like if I'm in a Tarantino kind of mood, I'll watch Reservoir Dogs because it's Tarantino, but not because I think it's that great. Anyway, have you seen anything else you want to talk about?
Recently, man, I've seen some silent films, which I won't discuss.
Look who's smart.
Because they're silent.
Look at the big brain on set.
I know. Blood and sand, right? There's some blood in there, and there's some sand in there, so it's pretty great. But I don't think I've seen much. I tried to watch Escape from New York yesterday, and what I did see, I really liked because Kurt Russell is great. He's like the definition of bad boy.
Listen up, everyone. Yeah. Kurt Russell is the man.
Kurt Russell's the man.
He's the man. You have to know that.
And he doesn't care if you can't really understand him. He just talks like his own volume. He don't care. He's Kurt Russell. He's got an eye patch. And he still aims his gun like that.
Yeah.
So he don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't finish it. I know. And I just talked all that. I was really tired. We've had a long week. And I watched half of it. And I really liked the atmosphere. There was a really cool one shot of him walking around this like ruined city. And it's just this huge aerial sweeping shot. And it keeps going closer to him as he's like walking around the entire block. And it comes really close to him. And then the action kind of starts right after that. He kind of runs into some bad stuff. Runs into that girl that like instantly dies, which is kind of funny. Although I haven't finished it, so I don't know if she comes back. But it is really, I really like the direction of it. I like the art style so far. So I haven't gotten to the latter half though.
Yeah, well, there's more than a latter half. You're 15 minutes in.
No, 50. I'm at 50 minutes.
Oh, 50.
In. I got to the part.
You said 15, so I thought you barely saw anything.
No, I got to the part where they're driving to meet. Is it the Duke? Is his name the Duke of New York?
Gosh, it's been a while since I've seen it. Yeah, it is the Duke. Yeah. I remember.
So I liked what I saw. Kurt Russell is like the definition of bad boy action hero from that era. But yeah, that's all I got.
I'm a big fan of that movie. I'm a big John Carpenter fanboy. I like a lot of his stuff. I'm a big fan of him.
Okay.
Anyway, so we're going to be talking about the 2015 summer movie season because it ended a couple of weeks ago. You know, I think once we're into September, summer movies are over.
Yep.
And what do you think? What did you think of this summer movie season?
I think it felt really dry going into it, like Monday, May, and then June. Mm-hmm. But then it kind of picked up. I mean, we had obviously the big ones like Avengers, Ant-Man. There's some other big ones I'm kind of blanking on.
Well, there's the third highest grossing film of all time.
Well, there's Jurassic World. You know, whatever. Okay, no, I enjoyed Jurassic World. You didn't enjoy it as much,
we'll
get into that.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of having a little. I might have to refer to Flickster while you talk about it real fast.
Okay.
I'm blanking on the movies.
My initial reaction when I think about this 2015 summer movie season is it was a bit of a disappointing movie season.
Okay.
And that's because a lot of the movies that I was really the most excited for, I was not that into. And I was disappointed by. I got disappointed a lot this year. But then when I actually look at all the stuff that came out this summer, there's a lot of really good stuff. Like, there really was a lot. So, would I say it was a disappointing summer movie season? No. I had some disappointments, but I definitely liked some stuff.
Okay.
For sure. But anyway, the summer movie season really, really kicked off May 1st with Avengers Age of Ultron. Mm-hmm. And this was my first disappointment because I saw that movie and I was like, okay, like I liked a lot about it, but I was disappointed by it. And here's the thing: the more distance I have from Avengers: Age of Ultron, the more I realize that movie is just really generic and kind of dry, and it doesn't have much of a heart to it, I don't think. And I'm not a big fan of it. Like, it's just really generic, I thought, and it felt like Joss Whedon was exhausted, and he just didn't have much more to give.
He was exhausted by that time.
And I just don't think he had much more to give. And the movie really feels like a placeholder, to where we kicked off with the whole thing with Avengers. That's when they all come together, and supposedly Thanos is going to be big, and Infinity War is going to be big, and this just feels like it's just kind of in between, and there's just not much going on.
Ultron seems like a transition villain.
Yeah.
I guess I enjoyed him more than most because I felt like he was a child, like he was born yesterday. He was a pouty little child that acted like his dad, Tony Stark. But I think it was just. Joss Whedon has some great one-liners in there, but overall it is forgettable. It wasn't Avengers 1. I enjoyed it. I saw it twice in theaters. Hawkeye was like the standout. Hawkeye and the Vision were the standouts. They were fun. But I'd say besides that, it was fun. It wasn't memorable. They introduced characters in it, like Scarlet Witch, and then Quicksilver. So yeah, it was to introduce characters and for Joss Whedon to get the heck out of Marvel, basically. And he finished his time with Marvel, so. It was enjoyable, but wasn't Avengers 1. I liked Avengers 1 a lot more.
Yeah.
And Ant-Man.
I think what you said about it not being memorable is the case for me with a lot of the movies this summer, and that a lot of stuff was fun while I was sitting there, but it's just not memorable. Or like once it's over, then I realize, oh wait, that was kind of bad. And where I kind of thought it was fun, like while I'm watching it, but then I step back from it and I realize that's not very good. And it is. There's something to be said for a movie just being fun, and that's fine. But there are movies that are not that great, but that are fun, that will really stick with me. And there wasn't a lot this summer movie season.
Yeah, and then there's fun that just is so much fun that you think it can technically be a good movie. It can be a great time, which I think Furious 7 was that for me.
Not a summer movie season.
No, it was close.
It was April.
Yeah, it was April.
I'm a fan of Furious 7 more than a lot of the summer blockbusters, actually.
Daddy's got to go to work. That's all I need in a movie.
That's it.
The more rock.
Just the rock flexing.
Yeah. More rock, more movie, more better.
Exactly.
Yeah. So show over. We just see the rock.
There you go.
That's all you need in a movie.
There you go. Let me ask you this: were there anything you saw this year, the summer movies, that you thought was really terrible?
Really terrible. I don't think in theaters. Like I usually don't really hate movies. I usually just get really bored by them and don't care.
Yeah.
Did Aloha come out in the summer?
It did.
It did. Okay. I would say that's the worst one I saw over the whole summer.
That's probably
me
too.
Because I mean, I didn't hate anything except Aloha. I just thought didn't hit any marks on any levels except for me looking at two of the female leads. That was it.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't hate Aloha either. I almost think Aloha is fascinating because it is bad and horrible and inept in ways that are almost unbelievable. Aloha is so bad that I was like shocked through the whole movie. I was like flipping out in the theater sitting next to you.
No,
I was like,
he's right.
What is going on?
Your reaction was very visible.
So bad. And I was really excited for this movie. That was my biggest disappointment because I'm a big Cameron Crowe fan. I mean, you got Jerry Maguire, you got Almost Famous, you got Say Anything. I'm a big fan of We Bought a Zoo. I know it's not as acclaimed as other ones. I love We Bought a Zoo.
I like Matt Damon.
I like Cameron Crowe a lot. And obviously I love the cast of Aloha. Who doesn't?
That's why I wanted to see it because the cast was so good. And
and
I like the trailer too.
And I love that kind of movie. I love like a Cameron Crowe style romantic comedy, and it takes place in Hawaii. To be honest, I was kind of expecting something like a Cameron Crowe version of like The Descendants. The Descendants with George Clooney. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies, and it makes Hawaii look so good. Aloha makes Hawaii look terrible.
It looks like the natives hate you. The government's awful. There's some pretty sights, and that's about it.
It doesn't look appealing. Yeah. Aloha. It's not shot well at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the dialogue in Aloha is so bad. It is so bad, I cannot even process how bad it is. Like, things come out of people's mouths, and I'm like, what is happening? What's going on with your mouth?
Even the absence of dialogue is really bad in that movie.
That's true.
Because there's a stupid gag where they're communicating by giving each other gestures, and it shows, like, subtitles, and it's just, like, a gag out of a straight-up comedy movie. I laughed because it was bad, not because it was funny. Which, I mean, it still got me to laugh. Yeah. Technically.
Here's one of my biggest things with Aloha is I can't stand how Bradley Cooper is, invited in the house of Rachel McAdams' ex-girlfriend and her husband. And Rachel McAdams immediately starts bringing up relationship stuff between them. And they start having this like lover spat sort of thing, and they're so flirty. And I'm like, your husband's in the next room.
And for some reason,
What's
he doesn't talk
here?
at all.
Yeah, and he doesn't care. He doesn't pay attention to any of this. Man, I hate... Okay, I don't know if I hate that movie, but it is so monumentally terrible.
Yeah.
It's the worst movie I saw this summer.
Yeah.
But I didn't see Hot Pursuit. Because
You want to see Hot Pursuit.
No, I don't. No. Life's too short.
Yeah. It's too short for Hot Pursuit.
It is.
And I generally like Reese Witherspoon, but she is so flip-flopping on movies. Sometimes she's in really... I mean, she's in critically acclaimed stuff, like Wild, and... there's another movie that came out around that time. I forgot the name, but it was like
She's in Mud.
Mud, and then another movie was like 80-something%. So she's in good stuff, but then she's also in bad stuff. I think she chooses her battles, but I don't know. I didn't see it, so I can't say for.
I didn't either. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Hot Pursuit was the movie that came out the weekend after Avengers: Age of Ultron. As far as like counter programming, something that's not a lot like a summer movie, I may as well speak positively for the first time this podcast. Is that the same weekend as Avengers, a really limited release, we got a movie called Far From the Madding Crowd.
Okay.
And it's like a British period romantic drama, which is not normally my thing, but I saw it and it's really good.
It's not a blockbuster.
No, but it's a good movie. I liked it. Okay, and then May 15th, we got Mad Max Fury Road.
I like that movie. I think a lot of people like that movie.
That's true. I would say... unequivocally, that is the most critically acclaimed movie this summer.
It's like 98%
of Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing with me and Mad Max Fury Road. I feel like I'm kind of... This is a term that one of my favorite film critics, Patrick Brownlee, on If This Movie uses. He uses this to describe Halloween. I'm going to describe Mad Max this way. I feel like I'm standing outside of Mad Max, and that I'm looking at it, and I'm like, it's so perfect. And it's so technically a brilliant achievement, and it's so brilliant, and it's so well done, but I find myself not quite getting into it. I found myself kind of standing outside of it, admiring it, but not ever getting invested in it. That's kind of how I felt when I watched Mad Max Fury Road. I was planning on watching it again before we did this podcast. I put it on, but then I didn't finish it. I watched like 10 minutes of it, and I was like, I don't feel like watching this right now.
Okay. Woo. Okay. It's not bad. I enjoyed it. I can say I distanced myself, but not for the same reasons. I didn't feel invested so much in the story as much as it was like a roller coaster ride, the movie. I just felt like I was just thrown along this ride, this crazy, destructive, beautiful ride of a movie. And obviously the star of it isn't, I wouldn't say Tom Hardy as Mad Max, but Charlize Theron as Furiosa.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed her character. I enjoyed Tom Hardy's performance. I actually like him more than Mel Gibson because I think he's more of a ruined, not crazy, but a guy that's been stuck in isolation for a long time. So he's hard to communicate with. He's really weird, but I enjoyed him. But it was just visually like fantastic, and the stunts were great. Oh yeah. And it was fun. It was. I wouldn't say the story was fantastic because it was basic, but it was fun. Yeah. Yeah,
and I agree. Tom Hardy's really good, and I love what the movie does with Charlize Theron and how really feminist the movie is, and it's really a pro women's movie without beating you over the head with the fact that it is, because it's just. They just wrote a good character with Charlize Theron, and she's just a good character.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, and they're not beating you over the head with, oh, she's a woman, so blah, 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 blah. She's just another person. And, I applaud the movie for what it does for feminism. I really do. And it's a very, very good movie that maybe I will really connect with later down the road. But right now, I just don't really connect to it that much.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. But I'll tell you this. The way most people feel about Mad Max Fury Road, with it just being this amazing, heart-stopping, adrenaline thrill ride, we may as well just jump around a little bit, but that's how I feel about Mission Impossible 5 Rogue Nation.
Oh, yes!
That is my favorite action movie, like summer blockbuster sort of movie of this summer.
As far as blockbuster goes... Yes.
You too?
I agree. Yeah.
I love Mission Impossible 5. I remember at one point during the motorcycle chase, we saw the movie together, and I turned to you and I just said, I love this movie.
This is a fact.
I just love it. I was so just pumped while watching it, and I love the action scenes. I think they're incredible.
Tom Cruise.
The movie is so
good.
well done. It's my favorite Mission Impossible movie.
No, yeah,
Personally.
ditto.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I was a little different. I wanted to say I was tossed between 3 and 4 before this movie because I really like 3 more than most people do. But 4 was just really fun.
Yeah, it is.
It didn't have the emotional power of the third one, in my opinion, but this one is so good. And the addition of Rebecca Ferguson solidifies it as the best one for me.
Yeah, she's really good.
so
She's
good.
like steals the movie practically.
She is the female version of Ethan Hunt, and I enjoy watching her so much. She uses all of her assets. And
What does that mean?
She has more than one asset that she uses as a special agent.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
assets. But she is fantastic in the movie, and because this movie, her career is like launching right now.
As it should.
She is being rumored for so many movies, heavily for Captain Marvel right now, which I would love to see her that. Emily Blunt personally, I think would be great for that movie. It was so good. These stunts are fantastic. Obviously, Tom Cruise is his own stuntman and one of the best stuntmen like alive.
Man, he is.
He held that plane scene. If anyone's not seen it, you've at least seen the trailer, I hope, and if not, get out. But it's so good. No, you need to watch it, really. He did the plane take, the sequence, 8 times. He took off and landed holding onto a plane 8 times, which is just insane, because if anything went wrong, he would have died.
Yeah.
And then the underwater sequence,
Amazing sequence.
so good. In the movie had to be underwater for 3 to 4 minutes, I believe. But he said in an interview he actually trained to breathe underwater for 6+ minutes.
Yeah,
which is
that's crazy.
inhuman. I think it's not Ethan Hunt we're watching; it's Tom Cruise we're watching do all this because he is his own like action star. So he's awesome.
He's fantastic, and I so love the opera scene.
Yes.
Okay. Here's the thing. When I was watching that opera scene, I was thinking of Jurassic World. In that Jurassic World is such a bad example of visual storytelling because Jurassic World cannot just show you something and expect you to get it. Almost the entire purpose of Chris Pratt's character is he just explains obvious things. Like, he has to explain everything. But the opera scene in Mission Impossible 5 is such a great example of visual storytelling. There are almost no words in that whole sequence. You're just watching things happen. You get all of the exposition that's happening just through how the camera films it.
And I think the camera films and the expressions we get from the actors, because Tom Cruise is really expressive too, as well, and so is Rebecca Ferguson. And the whole scene is a back and forth between these people trying to carry out their separate missions. And it's so good because, obviously, if you haven't seen it, I'll try to keep it minimum spoilers.
Yeah.
But basically, there's a bunch of different shooters in the building, and Ethan Hunt is trying to stop this assassination. And Rebecca Ferguson's kind of caught in it, I would say. You don't really know her motives, but the whole thing is pretty silent, and it's just back and forth. And so many things are in motion, and they keep changing, and you can follow along, and it's very intriguing, and the music also hits the nail on the head with it. It pulls you in. I think the fight scene between Tom Cruise and this big henchman is so well choreographed and it's so beautiful. It's like almost like an orchestra, like a fighting. Like the music, it just flows so well, and that is a good scene. That's one of my favorites in that movie.
I really, really love that movie, and I love also how they use Simon Pegg. I feel like this is the first studio movie, like big budget studio American movie that I've seen that really gives Simon Pegg the respect he deserves, because he's always just used as that goofy funny guy. But if you see him in like British films, the Cornetto trilogy with Edgar Wright, obviously, you see he's such a brilliantly dramatically talented guy. He's funny, but he can do drama, he can do everything. And this is the movie that I saw that they actually use him to his potential.
They care about him as a character.
They give him respect. He's given dramatic scenes. He's given more to do, and he's just terrific. And because of that, they then give the comedy relief more to Jeremy Renner, who does a great job
at it.
He's really funny.
He's the straight guy, like the serious guy who is just saying these off the cuff things, and he's really funny with it.
Yeah.
But I think he deserves that spot in the franchise, because they've tried to make him leading man in that franchise or in like the Bourne franchise. I think he's good as that serious, fun, like almost sarcastic guy.
I agree.
He's really good as that character, but I don't want to typecast him because I love Jeremy Renner, but he's really good in that part. Which also, on that point of Simon Pegg, in the movie, it didn't come out in the summer, but Hector and the Search for Happiness I was going to bring up. Also, it's not a good movie. It's not. But he gives a great performance in it. He's very dramatic performance, I would say, and he's really good in that. So people give him more roles because he's so good.
I agree.
And I need to do it.
And if we can just jump back to Jeremy Renner real quick, I feel like this is the year that Jeremy Renner grew a charisma bone.
Yep.
Because I always found him so dry before. I mean, don't get me wrong, he gives a really terrific performance in The Town. He's not charismatic, really. I don't want to see a movie about that character.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
But this year, in Avengers Age of Ultron and in Mission Impossible 5, all of a sudden he's charming and charismatic. And I don't know where that came from, but I'm glad it's here.
Because Jeremy Renner's awesome. Actually, in an interview with Jimmy Fallon, he sings a version of Thinking Out Loud about Hawkeye, and he has so much
I saw that.
charisma, and he's so funny that I think he would be so great in so many different roles.
Yeah.
I was gonna say on top of the Jeremy Renner point, the Bourne franchise, they try to make him a leading man in that too, and yeah, it didn't give him the respect he deserves. It tried to make him a serious, almost. He was boring because of it, because they try to make a serious,
and it doesn't help that
dark
movie's
action
just
movie.
not very good.
It's also the movie's fault. So I just think they don't use him for his full potential.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited for the next Bourne movie with Matt Damon. And
yeah, we'll see. I mean, I like The Bourne Identity. I don't really care for anything after that, to be honest. But that's just me. So I've already a little bit snuck in some disses on Jurassic World.
Yeah.
So why don't I just give you a chance to defend it a little bit?
Defend it. Well, it's not my favorite Jurassic movie, for sure. Jurassic Park is. But I did enjoy it more than you. I felt a lot of the magic from the movie, which it was mainly in the beginning. It lost it a lot throughout the end of the film because it kind of turned into a dark... it's too dark, bloody movie, I would say. It focused too much on the destruction. But I really loved seeing the world through the kids' eyes, which is how I saw the movie. Like when it started, it was with the little boy, which was my favorite character in the movie probably. And it shows him leading up to discovering something he really wants to see. That's how I kind of see some of the Jurassic Park magic is that it's opening a world to you, and then it kind of collapses around you after that. And I saw some of the magic through that. They did a good job with that, but after that, some of the adult characters kind of flopped, and they were a little exposition-y and dry. I enjoyed watching Chris Pratt. I think he had a lot of charisma, but he wasn't given good dialogue per se. So yeah, I that's the part I enjoy about it is the kids. Some of the cinematography was good. Some of the direction was hit or miss. So I enjoyed it. It was fun, but it wasn't great.
Well, the good news is that director is getting a Star Wars movie.
He's getting a Star Wars movie.
So hooray.
I don't know about that, though. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't like Jurassic World. I liked it. I tried to like it the first time I saw it. I remember I walked out of the theater, and I saw this girl that I know, kind of, and I talked to her a little bit, and she's like, "Oh, isn't Jurassic World great?"
So
she's like, "I mean, this is my second time," and this was like Saturday of opening weekend, so like, so she must have been like the day before. And I remember going like, "Yeah, it's good," and I just felt myself like holding back, like, what do I not like about this? There's something I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
And I went to see it again, and then once I saw it the second time, I realized, okay, I don't really like this movie.
Okay.
And I'm such a fan of Jurassic Park. I'm like passionate about Jurassic Park. I love it so much. I don't think this movie recaptures the magic. I will take The Lost World over Jurassic World any day of the week. I think Chris Pratt is a charismatic guy who's given a stupid character to play. I don't think Bryce Dallas Howard is very good. I think here's the thing. I don't think any of the characters really land.
Okay.
I don't think any of the characters are given any sort of interesting drama of any kind. Like, the biggest attempt to put in drama is a quote-unquote romance between Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard that's really bad and doesn't work. And the parents' divorce subplot.
The divorce was bad. Yeah. It didn't make sense.
Yeah, and plus, who's going to try to divorce Judy Greer? That's not going to happen.
Obviously not the guy from Ant-Man, whatever. Come on, he loves her. She is like the every woman wife in movies.
She's like, yeah, she is.
But I think the problem with that is they don't give the characters any personal conflict.
No.
They make the characters, the main problem is just dealing with this giant dinosaur like fumbling around through the entire park.
Yeah.
What the first one did was they gave each character their own conflict. They gave them a subplot, a backstory, and you cared about them. This one is just Chris Pratt's character like, oh god, we got to get that dinosaur. And then the Bryce Dallas Howard's like, oh, these people don't love me. We got to get that dinosaur. And then the kids are like, oh god, we got to get away from that dinosaur. And that's pretty much the plot.
In their little
In their
driving
pod.
ball thing that they're just allowed to drive around the park in.
Because they have a
that
pass.
exists anywhere.
I wish it did. That'd be so cool.
That's true.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, it's I think it's a really dumb movie.
Okay.
And I don't usually
Yeah.
don't like characterizing things as dumb because I think it's just dismissive, but there's a lot of dumb stuff in that movie. And I don't like the I-Rex. I would much rather just watch a T-Rex the whole time.
At least the T-Rex showed what's up by killing the I-Rex. It's like, this is my movie, it's my franchise. It did get help, but it was a really cool moment. I mean, at least that. But let's discuss the moment most people hate is when, should we say spoiler alert?
Everyone has seen this movie.
Okay, fair enough. $1 billion is when the assistant gets mutilated in the movie.
I hate that scene.
It's an awful scene.
I hate it so much.
Basically, in the scene, the assistant gets killed so bad, she gets thrown around by dinosaurs, a pterodactyl, that giant sea creature. She just gets demolished. And she didn't deserve it. She wasn't a bad person. I mean, she was kind of annoying, but she didn't deserve to, like...
Yeah.
I mean, no one deserves that.
And here's the thing. I don't think that... I mean, Jurassic World is, in a sense, kind of a horror movie.
Yeah.
And I don't think that in horror movies, people should only die if they deserve to die. Obviously not. I would never watch a Friday the 13th movie otherwise. Although they're often annoying.
They all deserve to die.
But here's the thing. Is the movie is not showing it. I really feel like the movie is not directing it in a way where it's like, oh, isn't this sad? It's directing in a way as, look at this cool special effects shot. Like, look how awesome this is. And I'm like, this isn't awesome. It's horrible.
And I think that came from, because I read in an interview that they had the scene planned to kill the villain. So they're like, oh, look at this great like money shot to kill the villain.
That would make more sense.
Yeah. And I think they storyboarded it and they were just too stubborn to give it up. So they're like, let's just give it to this character if we don't want to kill the villain.
That's a good thought.
So I think if you believe a shot shouldn't be in there and you put in the work to put it in there, it's really, you really should care about the art of it and what people see of it, not just because you put money into it.
Yeah.
And you should kill the shot. You should kill your darlings, as they say in editing. So I mean, they just didn't care enough probably, and they just wanted it to look good. But I still enjoyed it much more than you.
Yeah.
Do you think they can fix it with a sequel? The characters in the story, the universe.
I don't want a sequel. Like,
Okay.
honestly, Jurassic Park is like, maybe it's not a perfect movie, but it's a movie that's really, really great, and we don't need any more. I don't want any more Jurassic Park movies. I don't want to see, oh wait, they're deciding to clone dinosaurs again. Let's see if it works out this time. It's ridiculous.
I have a strange feeling it's going to be involving that scientist that kind of ran away with, I think he had some of the samples too.
Yeah, and
like,
now we've turned
like an
that
evil
random
genius.
guy into a villain.
Yeah. I guess he's going to be like an evil genius. He's going to have his island of dinosaurs and he's going to, I don't know what he's going to do.
I guess.
But, well, a sequel is coming, that's for sure, and it's going to have the same cast. I feel like they can make them more interesting, but I think they solidify their personalities, and it's going to be really hard to do that. I don't know. That's Jurassic World.
Who knows?
But
okay, this one I don't want to talk about too much. I feel like I don't have a lot to say, but Tomorrowland came out.
Tomorrowland.
And I like Tomorrowland.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I think the third act, as a lot of people agree, is it flopped a lot for me. I didn't care about Hugh Laurie's character like at all. I really liked the girl. George Clooney is George Clooney, so he's always fun to watch. It was a good adventure. I love like magical adventure movies where the world opens up and it's sometimes even supernatural, as kind of the case in this one. It's more like science based, but it's really fun. It's definitely a Brad Bird movie, and I enjoyed it. I think what the opposite for the visit with me is I grew more appreciation for the film after I left the theater and after I slept on it, which is kind of weird because after seeing the film, I drove for like an hour just around the woods in the forest area, and I just was thinking about the movie.
Tomorrowland?
Yeah, when I see
That's
movies that make me think, I just like drive for like an hour and a half.
There's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
The movie can make you do that.
So it did that, and I think the movie appealed to me a lot because I love those type of movies. Like Song of the Sea is similar to me. It's really adventurous and it's really can't find the word, but magical. I'll just keep saying that.
Yeah.
So it helped. It worked for me, but it wasn't a great movie, but it worked for me.
Yeah, I recognize it's not a great movie, and I know it got critically panned for the most part. I think I was really in just the right mood for it when I watched it, and I only saw it once, but I just had so much fun. A lot of people complain that like some movie called Tomorrowland that is not about Tomorrowland, and Tomorrowland's barely in it. I get that, but I don't know. I don't care what the title is.
I think it's about the journey.
Yeah, I
It's
just
an
thought it
adventure
was a
movie.
fun adventure movie with characters I liked watching. I don't think George Clooney is as miscast as a lot of people do. I liked him in the movie.
I thought he was good.
I know people think his quote-unquote romance with the little kid robot is weird. I don't, because I don't see it as a straight-up romance. I see it as he fell in love with her when he was a little kid.
Yeah.
And now he's just kind of reliving memories in his head.
Yeah.
He is not about to, like, propose to this child robot. That's not going to happen.
He resents what she did to him, but he's not like, he's not going to propose to a robot that looks like a little girl now, obviously, but he cares about her.
That's not what it's about.
Yeah.
And I think people are kind of putting dirt into this movie where there just isn't dirt, and it's not supposed to be looked at that way. And I think it's kind of a fun, sort of innocent, childlike adventure that I think will be really fun for kids to watch. And I enjoyed it because I had seen a lot of kind of dry sequels and prequels and blah 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 up to that point, and I saw that and it was just original.
I appreciate it for being original.
Yeah,
I do. And speaking of Brad Bird, I'm so excited for Incredibles 2 coming up, which I just heard that it's moved ahead in production, and it's actually going to come out before the stupid sequel Cars 3, which I'm super excited about. So I just thought I'd mention that because Incredibles is so good.
Yep, it is good. All right, let's just throw this out there. Generally speaking, for this summer, what'd you think of the superhero movies?
We already touched on Avengers.
We did.
Ant-Man, which is the other Marvel movie that came out, I very much enjoyed.
Me too, man.
Because Paul Rudd, he's the Rudster, and he's so much fun to watch.
I'm such a fan of Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd, dude, come on, he's Paul Rudd.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ant-Man. I wouldn't have guessed going into this year that I would like Ant-Man so much more than Avengers, but I did. I'm a much bigger fan of Ant-Man.
I was actually, even before I saw Avengers, more excited for Ant-Man because I wanted that small, fun Paul Rudd movie, I guess, superhero movie.
And after seeing so many movies this summer with so much world destruction and so much death and mean-spirited violence like Jurassic World, Ant-Man is just a fun, kind of small, funny, just really enjoyable movie. And I just had a ton of fun watching. I thought it was really funny. I thought the comedy worked great. And after seeing like Thor: The Dark World, where there's so much comedy put in there, and it just falls flat so bad. That's my very least favorite in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But Ant-Man's comedy really, really works. And while I definitely would be curious, I am very curious to see Edgar Wright's version.
Yeah.
I think Peyton Reed did a really good job. And I like most Peyton Reed movies. I'm a fan of that guy.
And apparently a lot of the script remained intact from Edgar Wright, so we get some of him in there, but it's a Peyton Reed movie.
And he got credit.
Yeah, he got credit.
Yeah.
It was very enjoyable, though. Obviously, Paul Rudd was great. Evangeline Lilly, which I think is kind of underrated. She's in The Hobbit, but
she was good.
Those aren't great movies, but she was good in those. She gets a lot more screen time and more character development in this movie, obviously, because there's no development in The Hobbit. She's great, and obviously Michael Douglas. I loved watching him on screen.
Michael Douglas is a legend.
He's a mentor character now, which I love. I think he does great as that. He did that a little bit in the Wall Street sequel, but
I didn't see that.
Yeah, whatever.
I just saw the first one.
But he's great in the villain. I know you hated.
I'm not a fan of Corey Stoll as the villain. I think he's so ridiculous and over the top. But I liked the movie enough that I didn't really mind.
Yeah.
You know?
I thought he was fine. I didn't think he was a great villain. But
That's fair.
He was just that angry little kid that was mad at his mentor, the guy he looked up to. And he was so mad that he just did stupid, crazy things. And it worked for me. He basically just runs around the movie complaining and yelling at everybody.
That's true.
So that's his character. And it was fine. It worked for me. And obviously, they say in the movie that the serum is messing with his brain. So he's going to be a little bit more crazy. And, it worked.
And when we're talking about 2015 superhero movies, it's time to address the elephant in the room, which is Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four. Let me describe to you my mental state when going into that movie. I saw the Rotten Tomatoes rating. I heard the reviews. I knew everyone hates this movie, so I went into it really not wanting to hate it because I kind of felt like I don't want to pile on the hate on this thing. So I'm going to try to look for stuff to like. And I found them. I don't think Fantastic Four is as bad as everyone says. I think there are parts of it that are as bad as everyone says. The climax of the movie is truly horrible. It's a giant. Well, the whole movie is a mess. It's a failure.
Yeah.
But I think it's an interesting failure. I think it's interesting. I think it's ambitious in ways I haven't seen a superhero movie be ambitious in a while, at least.
Yeah.
And I like the cast. And
cast
even though
is
a lot
great,
of them
yeah.
didn't have a ton to do,
Yeah.
I think Michael B. Jordan especially got really...
He just has daddy issues,
He
man.
did not have much to do in that movie.
I'm just mad.
And I'll also just say I'm one of the few people who is a fan of the Tim Story Fantastic Four movie from 2005.
Mm-hmm.
I like that movie. And that movie is way better than this one. It gets the characters right in a way that this movie does not get the characters right.
I think Fantastic Four is just fun. The characters are
Yeah.
meant to be fun and over the top.
But this
and
movie isn't.
It's not. It's very serious. But
Yeah.
the original ones did that. They just thought, these are fun, kind of, can kind of be dumb characters. So they just had fun with it. And they threw them into a world where they don't take themselves seriously.
Yeah.
Especially Doctor Doom. So it worked. I didn't love the films, but you like them. And they're fun. But this movie is very dark and very serious. And it wasn't good. I do like the actors. I didn't think they did great in the roles. But I liked some parts of it. I liked the whole scene where they're discovering their powers for the first time, and Mr. Fantastic, Miles Teller, is just so terrified, and he's like crawling through these vents with his powers, just mutilating his body, and I really liked that because it was really creepy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I want to see that in a Fantastic Four movie, but I liked watching it.
Yeah.
I also like the scene where Doctor Doom is just walking through the facility, killing everybody, because it was just so crazy, and it was cool to look at. Those are probably the only parts I like about it.
I
to be
hear you.
honest.
And right after that scene when they're discovering their powers is when the movie really takes a turn for the worse. Is when
Yeah.
it's like 1 year later. And I'm like, what? We're not going to get to
Nothing's
watch them
changed.
discover their powers? We're just going to 1 year later? A horrible decision there. Unbelievably bad. But Josh Trank was really going for a David Cronenberg body horror sort of thing. And it's very obvious. Like, it's so obvious that's what he's going for. Only thing is, the studio wouldn't let him really go for that. So they turned it into a superhero movie in the third act. And the movie doesn't work as a superhero movie.
Bad final fight.
It's interesting as sort of a body horror movie. It's not great by any means, but it's an interesting attempt. But then it doesn't work as a superhero movie whatsoever.
No.
But I don't hate the movie, but boy, it's a mess.
I will say, but they pretty much showed all the good shots in the trailer, that it is a beautiful movie at some points, but the trailer pretty much showed all the beautiful shots. I think they really took time to set up parts for a trailer. If that makes
and
sense.
a lot of shots that aren't even in the movie.
Yeah. And there's a lot of shots that aren't in the movie, so it looked good, and I think he was trying to make it visually striking, and it just flopped after that. The story was just... And there's not much to say about it.
Well, here's time for me to gush, because I want to talk about a movie that came out in June that is one of the movies that is one of the ones really to beat for my favorite movie of the whole year, and it's Inside Out. I love Inside Out so much. I've seen it twice. I cried both times, several times, and each time I think this movie is unbelievably imaginative. I think it has such a wonderful heart and soul to it. It's so creative. The cast is perfect. Perfect
They are
cast.
great. They're great.
I think the movie is such a fun adventure. It has such a heart to it. I love it, love it, love it so much. I have nothing bad to say about it. I know you do not feel the same
Well,
way.
I like it. I do. I need to watch it again. I know I do, because the first time I just did not connect with it. And obviously there was like this big buzzing sound right by us too that annoyed the crap out of me. So that probably brought me out of it in the movie theater. But it just felt like I like the interactions of the characters, but it felt like a point A to point B movie where they kind of just... I think it was more of a character movie, so the plot didn't really matter that much, besides we need to do something about all these failing memories and this girl getting more depressed. And I thought they did great with that, but I didn't feel connected to it. I didn't feel any of the dramatic plot points hit me. But I enjoyed it, and it was very beautiful to look at too. It's a very colorful movie, and the voice cast is great. But I think I should give it another watch. I didn't love it, and it was fine.
Yep.
It was,
I love it.
He loved
All
it.
right, let's talk about a movie I love less, and it's Terminator Genesis.
that movie.
Now, if there was any movie that I had the lowest possible expectations for, it's Terminator Genesis, because we all saw the marketing. The marketing was horrible. The trailers,
Posters were so bad.
the posters were horrible.
High school Photoshop.
The trailers
project.
were horrible, and I saw it. And for parts of the movie, I thought, this isn't that bad. But then other parts, I thought, this is horrible.
Yep.
And overall, I don't like the movie.
It's not good.
It's not good.
It's not good.
No.
It's sad and funny that I think one of the best parts about the movie is that I didn't hate Jai Courtney.
That's
Which
true.
I
didn't
don't
either.
like him in like any movie ever.
Yeah.
I think he's annoying. He's like the generic character trying to be a hero. I didn't hate him in this movie. He wasn't good, but I didn't hate him. It did its job. And watching Arnold's fun, but I feel like they rehashed all his lines too much. They just used him for the sake of it's Arnold, and he's fun. And it was very dull. They try to just rehash elements from the past movies to give you that nostalgia factor, and it wasn't great. And the main lead, the lead actress, whose name is eluding me right now,
Emilia
Clarke. She looked the part, but she looked like Sarah. Obviously,
I thought she was really bad.
Yeah, she was.
Boy.
She was a little bit below fine for me. She helped carry the movie, but I think Arnold really carried it when it was just scenes with them. It wasn't her. She sounded whiny most of the time.
Boy,
I would
did
say.
she ever.
She was very whiny, which Sarah's supposed to be a strong character. The second movie, she's just like a warrior.
And if I can just jump in here, this summer we had two great examples of a female action lead in Rebecca Ferguson and Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
And this is such a horrible example, and you can see what makes it horrible is they are constantly like jamming it down your throat that I'm strong, I'm a big girl, I don't need no man to save me.
Show us.
I know, but she doesn't. And she has so many parts where she's like, I'm tough now, so I don't need saving no more.
I don't need you,
like,
Courtney.
Shut up! You're so whiny and annoying.
And she just needed to. I think it's sometimes better to not say anything than say something stupid in movies. Let your actions do the talking. And she shot a gun a few times, but she let everyone else do everything for her. And she just complained a lot, but she didn't show them what she could do. Which Sarah in the second movie shows them what she can do. She's awesome. In the movie.
And obviously, I mean, Terminator 2 is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And
great.
this movie is awful.
Yeah. It's not a genesis of the franchise or evolution or anything like that.
Well, they didn't even spell Genesis right, so there you go.
It's a program.
Yeah.
System.
Did you see Minions?
I didn't see Minions.
I didn't see Minions either.
I didn't see Minions.
Oh, I skipped that one.
It's really no, I didn't see it. It made $1 billion, but I didn't see it.
You know what came out that weekend that we did see, but I'm convinced maybe we're the only ones that saw it, is Selfless. Do you remember that?
I remember Selfless.
What a forgettable movie, right?
I felt less after watching that movie in myself. It was so boring.
It is dull as anything. Gosh, it's not good.
It just felt like the guy was trying to make a smart thriller, and he was not smart. And
It's
it
not
was
smart.
boring. It's Ben Kingsley. And why they could have just got an older guy that was similar to Ryan Reynolds, but Ryan Reynolds acts nothing like Ben Kingsley, which is weird because I really like Ryan Reynolds and I think he's great, but no one had chemistry. The action was okay in some parts. It wasn't great, and it was mainly a set piece film. Like, oh, let's do something here. Let's do something here. It didn't really care about the characters or plot. It was just here's a cool concept. Yeah. Let's have some action and some serious dialogue that wasn't that great.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and talk about some counter programming, some stuff that's not action or blockbuster. I saw Love and Mercy. Did you see Love and Mercy?
I didn't.
Love and Mercy is really good. I think it came out in June in like limited release. I just recently got a chance to see it.
Yeah.
It's a story of Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys. I mean, it's a good movie. The performances are just terrific. You got John Cusack, Paul Dano, and Elizabeth Banks. They're all great. Like John Cusack, best he's been in years. And it's a really fascinating story. This guy had a rough life. Like the lead singer of the Beach Boys. Not as a fun life as the music would expect you to believe. But it's also like, but I have a problem with a lot of biopics, and then it feels like, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened, and there's no real cohesion to it. Mm-hmm. This movie avoids that. It's about like one time in his older life, and then a longer time in his younger life, and the main story is the one part of his life as he's older, and it will like flash back to his younger life. So it's told in a bit of a non-linear sort of way.
Okay,
and it's interesting, and it's a good movie. And then we did both see Southpaw.
Yeah, Southpaw.
I didn't like Southpaw.
No, I didn't. I love Jake Gyllenhaal, and I wanted to give it a chance. And I'm actually surprised by the ratings because it's like right at fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, which is interesting.
Well, we all know Rotten Tomatoes is the end-all, be-all of whether
obviously, and Metacritic is just like there. Ugh. I don't like Metacritic that much, but it was very boring. A lot of the dialogue was just bad and didn't make sense.
It's not good.
I just didn't like how either everything was exposition-y or the dialogue was just really. It didn't like deserve to be there, especially when he was with Forrest Whitaker as trainer, or is it Forrest? No, Forrest Whitaker, right?
Yeah, Forrest Whitaker.
I'm even forgetting the actors. It's just a forgettable movie, but their dialogue together was just pointless half the time. And then when it gets to the actual dramatic, important parts of the story, they start talking about stuff that doesn't matter, and it's just. I didn't even like the way they filmed the fights. I thought it was awful the way they filmed the fights.
Okay.
Personally, I felt like I was watching pay-per-view, and I felt like pulled out of the movie. And I'm just paying to watch a regular fight, which could be what they're going for, like a realistic, grounded way of like fighting you might see in real life. But I think like something like Warrior showed much more of how you can choreograph and film something that's really dramatic and matters to the characters, not just guys pummeling each other. So I didn't like it.
Yeah, and sometimes I think Jake Gyllenhaal is my favorite actor working today. Like, he is just great. And I feel like this is a role that's kind of below him. To where, like, I feel like almost anyone could have played this. If I'm not mistaken, I think Eminem was originally going to play this part. And it seems like a role Eminem could do.
Yeah, I mean, he's just...
But I feel like Jake Gyllenhaal is capable of so much more than just kind of grumbling and acting stupid, which is a lot of what this character is. This character is watching a dumb guy make bad decisions and make himself miserable.
He makes so many bad decisions.
And make everyone around him miserable. And Jake Gyllenhaal, I think he's just got more to give. And I'm a little sad that we got a Jake Gyllenhaal movie this year, and it's this.
I know, because last year was Nightcrawler, which is phenomenal. And Enemy was so good. He plays two roles in that movie, which is just so great because they're so different and distinct. But obviously, if you haven't seen the movie, they're connected in a way, and it's very, very good. And then obviously Nightcrawler, which I think he should have got nominated for an Oscar for that performance.
I think he should have won the Oscar.
I can agree with that too. He's so great, and that movie has so much to say about today and the media. But
man, it really does.
That's for a different time,
anyway,
but it's so good.
We're not talking about 2014 Oscar season. As long as we are talking about non-blockbusters, I'm a big fan of The Gift.
Me too.
I think The Gift is probably one of the best movies I've seen all year.
I don't know about best movie I've seen all year,
It's
but
not the best, but it's one of my favorites.
Okay, it's like top 10 of the year, I'd say.
I would probably
maybe
say.
like lower 10.
We got a lot of ways to go though.
I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah. I like Jason Bateman, but I was never a huge fan of him. But I think he really played on what people think of him as a character in this movie, because he kind of plays that. At first, you kind of see him as a nice guy, but then he kind of devolves into a jerk.
Yeah,
he's a horrible person.
He's always that business guy who's just normal. And he plays that here, but he plays like the dark side of that.
Manipulative, like horrible liar of a man.
Yeah.
And then obviously Joel Edgerton is multifaceted in this role. He can be nice, he can be really creepy, he can be disturbing.
Not to mention he can write and direct.
This is his debut, and it's so good. It takes a kind of generic plot of just this creepy guy from someone's past, and obviously the story evolves, and it turns it into this mind bender of things happening left and right. You don't know what's going to happen next, and by the end of it, there's so much going on in your head that you don't know like what's real at some points. You don't know what's gonna where the story's gonna end. It's really good.
Yeah,
really great.
Absolutely.
It's like the male version of Gone Girl. You don't,
in a way,
like in the sense that Gone Girl made you never want to get married. For like guys, this makes women never want to get married to a man. Yeah, because men are horrible in this movie.
Yeah. Well, let's transition back to some happy movies. I ran into a girl that we went to high school with not long ago, and we were talking about movies. And she said that she had gone to see The Man from U.N.C.L.E. 3 times, and that she's obsessed with that movie. I respect that, because I like The Man from U.N.C.L.E. a lot.
It was really fun. It didn't take itself seriously, which I respect, but in a fun way. It took a lot of the themes from old Bond movies. Like, it was really fun. It was over the top. It had some crazy gadgets and fun characters, and it just times that by 3. I thought it was enjoyable. Henry Cavill was just this fun guy that talked like this the entire time.
I love his performance.
He's so great in that movie.
It's a movie where just I know it's not great, but man, everything about it just worked for me. It just really worked for me, and I love those 60s spy movies. I'm a huge James Bond fan. I love James Bond, and everything about this movie just worked. It's a pleasant movie to look at because it's full of attractive people, like
exotic locations.
What is her name?
Alicia Vikander.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that is an attractive lady.
Yep.
And the beautiful locations, and it's shot really nice and bright and colorful. It's pleasant to look at. It has fun characters saying fun dialogue. And I really enjoyed the movie. And there is a line that I think is just so great.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it really bumps up a movie if you can think of a line of dialogue that's really good. And it's when Alicia Vikander pours a drink. She drinks it. She's like, "You want one?" He said, and Armie Hammer.
Yeah.
He's like, "No," and she just drinks that, and he just goes, "Would you like a bigger glass?"
You get the looks, and I can't do it on an accent.
I just love that line.
It was funny. It was subtle. It had really bashful, over the top, fun humor, and really, I guess that was more subtle humor, but it was very quirky. And the villain wasn't great. She was a seductress villain, and she was fine. But I think that the lead cast really made it shine. It was so much fun. Alicia Vikander was this kind of crazy, fun chick person.
She was sassy.
She was very sassy, and she wore a lot of sunglasses that were weird. I thought that was really funny. She would always put on something and just dance around and have fun. And I think Armie Hammer was great in the role. I think he was underrated. He was a lot of fun.
I really cared about him.
Yeah.
And I didn't care about Henry Cavill as much, but I just liked watching him.
He was
just
so much fun.
And there's some just really funny scenes in the movie.
Oh.
It's just a really fun, really enjoyable movie, and it's one that sticks with me a lot.
Yeah.
More than a lot of the movies this summer.
I think it has two comedy pieces that really stand out, and some of the funniest stuff I've seen this summer, which is a scene involving an electric chair and a scene involving someone drowning. I'll just leave it at that. It's super funny. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. The summer kind of ended on a whimper. Let me name off all of the movies that came out at the end of the year that I did not watch. Yeah. Underdogs, Hitman Agent 47, American Ultra,
Flounder.
We Are Your Friends.
Not mine.
Just a few of the movies that I skipped. But we did see Sinister 2, and I'm not going to get into it too much. But that movie's awful.
It's so bad.
It's awful.
So bad.
And I don't really think anything else needs to be
There's
said.
a little kid trying to kill a family with a sickle, and they're all freaked out by him. Run away from the kid.
It's a little kid.
And there's so many logical fallacies in that movie that make no sense. And they don't show them because they can't explain them because they make no sense.
Yeah.
It's such a bad movie.
And I feel bad calling it bad because a movie podcast I'm a big fan of is Killer POV. And they specialize in horror movies. They did a whole episode interviewing the director of Sinister 2. He seems like such a great guy with so much passion for the horror genre. And I've heard his first movie, Citadel, is really great, and I plan on watching it this October.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel bad because I'm like, what happened, man? You seems like I guess just because you seem like a really cool, nice guy doesn't mean you can make a great movie.
It feels like he didn't care when he made the movie.
I know.
At least watching
That's
it.
how I felt too, and yeah, it bummed me out. Sinister 2 bums me out. So, I mean, overall, when I'm talking it over, there were a lot of stuff I really liked this summer.
Yeah, there's some good stuff.
For sure.
Especially, the D Train. Yeah, that was great. No, I just saw that on my phone. Not
the
good.
D-Train. I've seen the D-Train.
Yeah.
It is not a bad. It's not a bad movie, but it is one of the most uncomfortable 90 minutes of my life. It's very uncomfortable.
I've talked to two
And I would
people
say no
about it,
more.
and I've heard people were just uncomfortable during it just because
Yeah.
the character himself was uncomfortable, and it was just...
Yeah, it's just Jack Black being awkward.
Yeah.
Then something happens,
He's more
and then it's
awkward.
Jack Black being more awkward for
And
the rest of the movie.
did you feel awkward for watching it?
A little bit. I felt, just... I'm not a big D-Train fan. All right, so let me ask you this question. When you look at next summer, what are you most excited about? And you can't say Batman vs. Superman because that's March.
Would it be generic? Well, it's not summer, so I can't say the Cap movie, Civil War.
No, that's summer.
Is that summer?
Yeah.
Okay, that's right in May, right?
It's May, but summer movie season really starts in May.
I sounds generic for saying that, but I'm super excited for that movie.
That movie sounds exciting.
I mean, I love Winter Soldier is one of my favorite Marvel movies, if not my favorite. It's like one or two.
Yeah.
I love Chris Evans as Captain America, and I think bringing them all together, him and Ant-Man's joining as well, making them fight is gonna be a lot of fun.
Captain America: Civil War. I just knowing what I know about it, it seems like the Avengers 2 that matters.
Yeah, because the
this
story
is what
matters.
We really need to
There's
see.
so much is going to change. I feel like someone should die. And what we're not talking about is Daniel Bruhl as Baron Zemo.
I'm a big Daniel Bruhl fan.
I think he's going to be bigger in the movie than the actual conflict, probably. He's going to be the catalyst for the conflict. And I'm super excited for him. So
I don't
excited
want
for the
him to
movie.
take too much center stage because I
Yeah.
want most of that movie to be about Cap versus Iron Man.
I
That's
think
what
he'll
wanna
be
see.
like the one pulling the strings. Like he'll cause the
the
fight.
Lex Luthor in Batman v Superman.
He'll be yeah, except he's not gonna be like the red capes are coming.
The red capes are
The
coming.
red capes
What's
are
going
coming.
on with his tone when he's saying that?
red capes
I
are
think that's the
coming.
weirdest part of that trailer.
I'm super excited for that movie too, though. Obviously, because everyone
me too.
is. I hope it's good. Anyways,
I was thinking about what am I most excited about next summer. I gotta say, it's Star Trek Beyond.
I have not thought about that movie.
I'm really excited. And here's the
thought about
thing:
it.
is the Marvel movies are exciting, but we get them all the time.
True.
I don't get these Star Trek movies too often, and I love the cast. I really love the cast, and I like those movies.
I do know that they're gonna, because Simon Pegg's a huge Star Trek fan, and he's writing it right now, and it's a different director than J.J. Abrams, and he says they're gonna make it like the old school Star Trek,
and I'm excited
which
for
is
that.
which is different.
Because I like those new Star Trek movies, but I'm more a fan of classic Star Trek.
It's gonna be about exploration, like diplomacy between. I mean, I haven't seen much of the old Star Trek like you have, but diplomacy between aliens and races.
Yeah, and just about just really the wonder of space travel, and that's what I want to see. So I'm really excited for Star Trek.
And not Khan like blowing up a ship and then you like explosions and lens
Sometimes
flares.
I want to call him Khan Jr.
God!
That's not what he is.
Okay.
Benedict Cumberbatch. I'm excited for Doctor Strange, but that's not a summer movie.
No.
But
That's
I'm
later in the
really
year.
excited for that. Okay, this was a fun show.
Yeah.
Just spewing out our thoughts, or you might say projections that
Oh,
are real.
And the video is actually working this time because there's a red dot.
It is. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, or if you're listening on iTunes, check us out on YouTube under Dinosaur Food.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the title. I think it's great.
Whatever.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week.
See you later. Outtake.
Rising up, back on the street.
Bum 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 bum.
Did my time, took my chances.
That looks fine.
Made a distance, now I'm
Back on my feet.
Just a man made his will to survive. Too many times, it happens too fast. You trade your passion for glory. Don't lose your grip.
Dreams of the past. Just a man and his will to survive.